That's it for this topic. Let's go ahead and take some calls.
Sure. We're going to start off with Joe in New York. You're on with Don and Matt.
Hi. I was on this show for this is the third time in a row. Yeah, I want to talk about atheist depravity.
Oh boy.
Is there? Why would you call it atheist depravity? What are you calling depravity, and why is it in any way tied to atheist?
Well, if I I was going to give a bunch of examples.
Well, let's start with one.
Choose your best one.
Well, obviously, the best one is Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Pol Pot killing millions and millions.
Yeah, but they were anointed by God, right?
I can't.
So it's God's fault.
So hang on. We're talking about depravity. The fact that someone is an atheist and does something that's bad doesn't mean that they're doing something bad because they are an atheist or because of atheism. Right? Because otherwise, it may just be that the problem is men. Like everybody you listed as a man, pretty much all serial killers are men. There's a couple of exceptions, but once we, make adjustments for that, maybe it's just being genetically, XY chromosome type of thing of that stereotypical mustachioed evil villain. Maybe men are just the problem, and it's not anything to do with an ideology. And I'm using men kind of in the loose thing because I feel that starting I feel that starting a discussion about gender identity and expression with you is not going to be very productive. So, what's your depravity example that is tied to atheism?
Yeah, connect the dots for us.
Well, the lifestyles of people in America too.
People in America are predominantly atheist. All I want, Joe, is give us an example of what you mean by depravity and show how it is linked to necessarily atheism.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
No, you're not. But let's start.
I had friends in college who were atheists.
Okay.
And they had promiscuous sex with women, which, you wouldn't find any religious people doing that because they wait till marriage.
All religious people, first of all religious people don't wait till marriage. I was religious and had sex before marriage. Second of all, what you're describing as depravity, you need to make a case for why two people having consensual sex is somehow depraved.
It's not necessarily two people having sex. It's somebody who has sex with somebody and then moves on to have sex with their next conquest. And
that's no. I would agree with you that viewing sex as a conquest or transactional is definitely problematic. There are character flaws in people who are engaged in those sorts of serial relationships. But if we're talking about somebody who just has sex with someone and then goes on and has sex with somebody else, there's nothing. I don't see anything wrong with that. What's funny?
I didn't think I was going to have to argue that point with you.
Well, then you really screwed up because you're going to. See, here's the thing, Joe, is that you seem to have a view of things that are depraved. And here in the call screener's notes, it says, according to you, there's been research that divorce, cannibalism, and drunkenness are caused by atheism. Is that what you're calling about?
I wouldn't say all of it is caused by atheism, but I'd say there's a lot of it.
Did you know that the divorce rates among Christians is higher than among atheists?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. You're welcome to write the Atheist Experience TV show, and I'd be glad to give you a citation for that.
The issue here, Joe, is that you called in and you seem to have this view that atheism causes a lot of bad behavior, and yet and yet the sorts of things that you and I might agree are bad behavior aren't tied to atheism in any demonstrable way, and yet I would argue that some of the things that you and I would agree are bad behavior are clearly supported by religious tomes and doctrines and things like that. So, I mean, would you agree with me that slavery is a problem, that it's immoral?
Yes.
And yet, I don't know what your religion is. Are you a Bible-believing Christian at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am.
And you're aware that the Bible explicitly supports and endorses slavery, right?
I am, yes.
And then why the fuck are we having any conversation about this? You're calling in to say that there's these depraved things that are caused by atheism, and the one thing that we know you and I agree on is supported and endorsed by the book that you're advocating for.
Yeah, except, okay, I understand what the Bible's talking about when it talks about slavery.
Do you?
It's people
owning other people as property.
Yeah, who enslave people that themselves were depraved.
Oh.
They were cannibals.
They deserved it.
Well, hang on. So are you saying that that's morally permissible to own other people's property as long as they're depraved?
It was kind of like a beat them into submission type of thing.
Yeah. Are you saying beating people into submission is a good thing?
How about blaming the victim?
No. But these particular people, these tribal people or whatever, they were cannibals and.
What evidence do you have for this?
They weren't.
Is this just a bullshit rationalization?
What difference does it make? Are you saying that it's okay to enslave people as long as you view them as depraved?
Well, it may be. I mean, I'm open to it.
Okay. I think that's a very depraved outlook. I'd like to enslave you now. Are you open to that? Laugh all you want.
Yeah, but I haven't shown you that I'm depraved.
Yes, you are, because you're advocating for owning people as property and beating people into submission as long as you're convinced that what they're doing is depraved. And the things that you listed as depravity, which is something you're going to label as promiscuity, isn't something that is demonstrably a problem. So because I've had multiple sexual partners outside of marriage, you consider me depraved, and now I'm concerned that you think it would be okay to enslave me or beat me into submission.
No. I mean...
Then you should go off and think about this and call in some other time with something that's